Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Monday Mortgage Moment. Of course, I'm your man, Corey Smith with CMG Financial, here to talk to you about something else different relating to actual loans, actual mortgage loans, in order to kind of help you guys determine if right now is the best time for you to kind of take those steps forward to buy a home. Today, we're here to talk a little bit about credit unions versus an actual bank, and then credit unions, and we can kind of lump some of the bigger banks in there, your Wells Fargo, Bank of America, so on and so forth as well. But specifically, we're here to talk about credit unions kind of versus the banks that I work for, which is non-depository banks. And essentially, what the difference is that our bank is different because you can't walk into a CMG and open up a checking or savings account, but you can walk into a Wells Fargo and Bank of America and do the same thing. But we both actually produce loans, just so I can clarify that. But essentially, we're here to talk about credit unions versus a non-depository bank, which is what I work for. So let's just talk about the pros and cons a little bit of going with an actual credit union. One of the pros with going with a credit union, which a lot of people don't necessarily realize, is a actual credit union is a nonprofit organization. What that means is they completely look at your loan a lot different. They don't look at it as how much money can I actually make off this borrower. They look at it as we need to try to help the community out and help our members out more than anything. So sometimes there's some big differences with actual credit unions and our banks. Now let's just talk about just the actual pros of actually being able to go to an actual credit union. Well, if you go to a credit union, one, sometimes you can get pretty good rates when you go to a credit union. I have to admit. The second thing is that when you actually go to a credit union, because they're a nonprofit organization, they sometimes don't have as many fees as a regular bank does. So you might be able to save a little bit as far as that goes. The actual credit union is the people, when they lend you the money, they're actually the servicer. They're going to keep your loan in house. So sometimes there's a little bit of difference in the way they look at the guidelines and stuff like that. There's sometimes a little bit more leniency, but sometimes they're a little bit more strict. During this COVID era right here, sometimes credit unions have the opportunity to actually increase their credit score. So where before pre-COVID they might have did a loan for 620, but now you have to have a 640 or a 660 because they know that they kind of pick of the litter, so to speak. So things get busy. When things get busy, they start to kind of shaving off the bottom a little bit. The people a little bit more challenged, that type of thing. So they increase the credit score. Another pro with the actual credit union is we talked about rates, we talked about fees, but the relationship of the actual bank. A lot of times you're dealing with somebody inside the bank and you're building a relationship. So if you have any issues, you can go inside the credit union to actually talk to somebody and get that type of stuff worked out. Now let's talk about some of the cons with dealing with an actual credit union. One of the cons, could be seen as a con, is that credit unions are going to offer you and require you to actually open up a bank account, because the only people that they can do business with is actual members. So they want you to become a member in order to be able to do a loan. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because sometimes you can open up an account with as little as $100 and then be able to kind of do business with them. All right, that's cool. But if you're like, okay, well, look, I don't want to open up another bank account, I don't want bank accounts all over the place, then to some people that might become a problem. The second thing is there's a lot of down payment assistance first time home buyer programs out there. With a lot of the credit unions, they don't offer those same programs. They don't have leniency towards people that need those programs. So you're very restricted on the options that you have with a credit union because they don't offer those programs. The other thing is that if you don't have the down payment or you don't have the closing costs and that type of thing, sometimes the credit unions have programs for that, sometimes they don't. It's a little bit more specific than that. If you have any credit challenges, anything like that, you're kind of going to be hard pressed to go to a credit union because, they're going to kind of not deal with it or whatever the case may be. You may run into a little bit of challenges trying to get your loan through. The other thing is that All right, so let's talk about another con. And we talked a little bit about the limitations with no DPA and that type of thing. But now let's say you're self-employed. There's a lot of programs that are available to you, albeit, if it's bank statement only program. They have an investor cash flow product, 1 day out of bankruptcy, 1 day out of foreclosures. Those type of programs we offer, but you're not going to get those at a credit union or even a bank for that matter. So you're a little bit limited as far as that goes, as far as your options. So it's either one shot. Hey, you can go FHA, conventional, USDA or VA or something like that, or it's nothing at all, essentially. So you're a little bit wider range if you come to somebody like us, because we have more kind of tools in our tool belts to offer you in order to kind of get you inside a home. But again, these are just some of the major differences between a credit union versus a bank. Every situation is a little bit different. There's no one size fits all. Make sure you give me a call and let's talk about your situation and then what's best for it and then what's the best product. Give me a call, 832-297-7659. Talk to you soon.